What is that black discoloration on the inside?
It's just kind of tips of the vein, you know, that dries out once they bleed the animal. It gets a little bit gamey, you know. It's all good meat here, you know. But again, this is, you see the reason why a lot of the restaurants don't do this, because it takes time and takes commitment, and so people tend to waste because they want to do fast rather than do right, and then the saw start to come out and they start to kind of saw the piece without any regard of what is the best.
How many restaurants do you think I should get both of?
Very few. I know that ours was, you know, we brought every week at least one or two, you know, with our bacon, you know. I mean, those guys, we used to have this smoker continuously smoking bacon for us, heads and face and trotters. Every bean that we cooked with trotters, you know. And it's the right way to cook, you know. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna peel a carrot, peel the carrots. It's still right. Here. So now here it's gonna be about cleaning there. So I got two things that I'm gonna do here. One is I'm gonna show you here. One, I'm gonna try to retrieve, and you see how the knife very quickly start to kind of get shaky, you know, because it's full of fat now. So I'm gonna take the skin, because the skin can become what, guys? Exactly, but I'm gonna get the fat separately, because the fat can become what, guys? Lard. Lardon, you know, we can cue that fat and then, you know, use as a lardon, as a spread. You can use make lard, clean lard to cook. Then there is the famous cure fat, which call what is, you know, what's that? Lardo.
It's from Italy.
No,
It's famous.
delicious.
Hear that?
That's right. That's right. I'm a big subscriber of fat.
Pretty
Fat
spectacular.
is good. In Italy, in a restaurant, we cut a pig twice a week, every week for a year and a half. So how many pigs is that? That's a lot of pigs, man. It's phenomenal. That's big right there.
Twice a
That'd be
week.
like
Twice a week.
150 pigs.
Yeah.
Your math.
At
At
least a
It's
million.
about 150 pigs. Give or take.
About a million.
Okay, so here is an interesting thing, because the only thing that I will do here is do this. So I'm gonna clean here, and I'm gonna take this the tip of the blade. And this is no different than your shoulder blade, you know. So here, I retrieve this, and then I retrieve a little bit of this cartridge here.
Air.
Yeah.
Smells good. Can you roast the blade?
What's that?
Can you roast the blade?
Not really, because this part is most cartilage, but you can, once we get into the shoulder, and then you're gonna see the inside you can, okay? So here we'll clean this up a little bit, this kind of dry piece, you know? See these little glands over here? I retrieved that too. And these dry pieces I retrieved. See, these little glands over here, retrieve. So this so far is the only thing that I make a little stack over here, what is actual crud that is not going to be used. So we're talking about, you know, a nice amount of usable items against a none. This fat over here will be rendered. Okay, so a lot of fat are going to be rendered.
If you want to. Sure. Get a pot. Cut it smaller.
All like the little pieces.
Yes. Or small pieces.
You have to cut.
Okay. So here, for example, will be after skewer, you know. So I can just kind of do this, and that's what you buy in the market or on your restaurant. That's called Boston butt. Sometimes come trussed or in a net. That's what it is, because they retrieve the shoulder the one way, and then they do this over here. This will be curing part. Now, let's do this over here. So.
Where's the bones?
Okay, so here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna retrieve the skin. Okay. And start right here as well. So what you're trying to do over here is trying to take the skin completely out of the shoulder, so this whole thing gonna come out in one piece, you know?
So unlike beef, the skin is like transferable.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the skin of the beef, for example, you know, once they pull the hive, the skin is not as thick as theirs, you know, it's just like little layers, generally fiber fat. Here is basically a whole sheet of true skin and covered by true fat. So I can take this over here and blanch it, you know, in water, and then cut into pieces and then fry as a chicharron. Or I can cut this into pieces and random get out as much of the fat as I want, and then retrieve the skin and then fry again, and then use the chicharron. I can do it both ways. I can do it in water, with a lot of the Mexican restaurants do, if they don't have the space or time, or they can just kind of cook this in fat. Basically, what they do.
You cook it in its own fat.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, kind of getting the shoulder out of this skin over here. This is a good little pig. It's have enough amount of fat, you know, flavor.
That's the thing you went to farm here.
Didn't come home.
Well, no, since you
Yeah, he did.
You got it.
You know, that is like the stuff that I talk about, the restaurant calling themselves farm to table. This is farm to table. There's
Yes.
a farm here, and then from here going to a table. You know, so if you buy this in one box, you're already not classified as a farm to table. So the farm to table becomes just a cliche with no meaning or no power, you know, because people just kind of use a marketing ploy rather than the true what it's supposed to mean. It's supposed to mean that you brought the farm to your table, then here. So you have the sheet here. So here, see, you have a lot of fat over here that I can come over here and clean, then use to render, to make lard, you know, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. And then here, I can just simply blanch in salted water, take it out, cut in strips, fry as a chicharron, or put it this in a pot with a bunch of fat, and then render more of this fat over here, and then take the skin and then that. So that basically, you know, what it would be. Okay, so here is how we're going to debone the shoulder. Right here is a shoulder blade. This little piece over here is a lot of what a lot of people call it secreto these days. There is two pieces that people call it secreto. One is this piece above the shoulder, the other one is this piece over the loin. But it has a really beautiful tasting meat over here. I'll show you. It comes out very easy over here. So the tip of your knife got to be scraping the blade. See? This is very, very tasty. Right here. I'm going to keep this attached. I can take it out, but I can keep this attached as well. So once I expose this piece over here, then I'm going to start to go around. And go around right here. Okay? Right here is the end of the, see? The blade right here. And then right here, I'm going to do the same thing, moving that way. I'm going to expose that through here. So here, there is a little concave over here that have a little bit of meat inside, and I want to retrieve that. Tasty. Okay, so right here is where I'm trying to retrieve. So if you look at here, this is where I'm trying to come out. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Okay, so here, just kind of start to kind of maneuver this whole thing around. So the bone gonna come all the way over here, and I'm gonna retrieve this whole thing from the bone in one piece. So here's the bone here, okay? Bones comes all the way over here, see? My knife is scraping the bone all the way. See, all the way. See? This bone here, I'm going to do a little bit of a angle here, and then I'm going to go right under, right over here. Here now is about finding the under the bone. Now I'm going to go use gravity and make sure that you're scraping right here. You're gonna encounter a little concave over here, see? Right here. And you're gonna do a little free cut right here, so it cleaves on the other side, so it can come out. Here. See this little concave over here, and you all have this piece, you know, so it's on inside the shoulder blade. That's the only little difficult part for you guys here is here. Okay. And use the tip of your knife. And then it should be pretty much out, right? So this is the cut that the butcher will do for you that you won't see. Here's the bone shoulder, and this is what they would cover over time. Truss it and sell it to you. Here. Clean the bone. This meat goes inside. Clean the bone. This meat goes inside. Okay, so here's shoulder. Now let's do the leg. So we got boss, we got all this beautiful shoulder over here. This bolt over here gonna be beautiful braising meat, you know. So in a restaurant, what I used to do is to take this piece over here, cut in about 6-ounce portions. To that marination, to that mix over there, I would add balsamic vinegar and tomato, crushed tomato, no oil, no nothing. So I would marinate the chunks of shoulder on that marination for 24, 48 hours, and then I'll separate into braising it, and then I'll just pour pork stock over, and then braise right there. So the pork stock with that will become this really beautiful sauce, and that's how we did our braised pork in a restaurant. So we use that same mix for all sorts of different things, you know. So here is the ham. Again, the same thing I'm gonna try to do over here, which is take the skin off. Then I'm going to take the skin completely. And again, the same notion. And why I do that? So if I'm breaking this whole pork, I'll have a speedy rack over here with rendering fat, curing meat, grinding meat. So I'm already separated everything. I'm already thinking like part of this with that into grinding to make our chorizo. So already using this for tender cuts to be sold first. I'm already tending that for heavy marination to be braised and sold later. So I'm thinking about all the parts of the animal and what place on the menu this animal would have, you know. So you gotta really think about that kind of thing rather than just cut. You gotta think about the practical application that you're going to present this piece once you start to use, you know. Right? Here, same. Again, it's a nice fat around, but not necessarily a lot of fat in it. You know, it's a lean meat. You know. Get some exercise, but not as much exercise as there, so fat is not traveling as much through this muscle as it is. And in fact, I use this over here that I'll chunk it and then I'll confit on its own fats to make rillette, you know. So then once it's confit, I pull it and then I put it in the blender and then I'll whip it, some of the fat that I cook this back into that puree meat, and that's how we make pork rillette, you know. So that's basically that. So here, same thing. Gonna kind of retrieve this.
So how long does it take you to do a whole pork?
The pork like that. 3 hours. I'll have the whole speed record with the piece, including the face. And the face is an interesting thing, you know, because you know the face comes out in one sheet, like a whole mask, you know, the ears attached. The only thing that separates the tongue, I kill that, the same thing. And then when I roll it, I put the tongue behind the snout, and then I put the ears through the eye hole, and then I roll the whole thing, this nice conchita, and then you cook, and then you slice really good. When you slice, you see the ears and the tongue, you see everything in the parts, right? Delicious. Called porchetta di testa. Like it's the beauty of some of the old country, you know, they don't throw anything away. They found beautiful ways to use everything, and that basically is one thing that we need to learn from the old countries, that like they learn how to do more and waste less. So there is some spots over here that you're going to see some separation. There is spots that you don't see it, a lot of separation. So you saw how to debone a shoulder, you're going to see now how to debone a leg. And again, you would apply pretty much like all the animals with the same kind of bone muscle structure. Like tomorrow you'll see lamb, for example, breaking down the leg of lamb is a little bit different, but breaking down the lamb, which is going to be pretty much kind of the same. It's beautiful fat. And then it smells really good, feels really good. So here you can clean a little bit more of the fat, but you have a really nice, beautiful skin in here. That is good. So here, you know, I normally start on this side, and why is that? Because one thing that you need to pay attention is use the bone to guide you. So I'm using this bone to guide me here. See, if I start on the bone and have the bone guide me, and the tip of my knife is right on the bone, I can just kind of split this and use that as a guideline, see? So right here, so right here, following this bone here, you know? And I know that the bone start here and end over here because I can see, you know, it just kind of falling right here, and I'm right on the bone, you know? So then I can just kind of carve around it and start to maneuver so I can get out of here in one piece, you know? That's the goal. And the butcher this piece is make sure that this thing's not breaking. You know, a lot of times you get from a bad butcher, you see a net with 3 pieces inside the net. All fine and dandy when it's raw, but when you cook it and then you're gonna slice, and then you slice not to one single piece, it's like piece like that. So you want to make sure that you think about that when you're butchering. It's really about what the end result is gonna be. See? know, now pork is in fashion. You know, everybody, cut pig and everything. And then we have a cochon. Everybody's cochon. And we had a cochon over here a couple of years ago. This year was over there across the street. Was the winery. But last year was right here on the second floor. And I walked by and was, you know, celebrity chefs and all sorts of cochon and TV and everything. The guy was just murdering the pig, man. It was just kind of the pig. I felt bad for the pig. I wish I could save the pig for this bastard's hand because he knew nothing about cutting pig. You know, he was just kind of hacking. He had a saw this big, and he was just kind of with the saw smiling for the camera. Just look at this guy, saying, "My God, how we allow this people to do this?" And so I talked to the executive chef, which was another guy, you know, Aaron, and I said, Aaron, I mean, this is an embarrassment. The guy is over there, have TV cameras all over the place. They're gonna get out of here, and everybody gonna read this guy's name as an expert who was just totally murdering the pig, you know. And they did. There wasn't any front page of Palette magazine on the next day. Cochon, and everything. I'm looking at this person. And it was just kind of hacking everything. You know, see, it's one piece right here. So, you know, it's in fashion, you know. So here, you gotta think about, have a little knuckle in here. And you can see why this knuckle is here. This knuckle here is no more than your, you know, in your leg, you know. So right here, I'm kind of going very carefully around down here, and very carefully around here. There is a little concave over here that you're gonna have to clean. See, this have a whole little knee joint over here, so we have a little area that we're gonna have to maneuver carefully. So it's right over here on my hand right here. Okay. So here we go. Here. Gonna use this. We're gonna kind of operate through gravity. We're gonna come all the way over here without separate this. Wow. There we go. That. We're gonna come over here. And the same thing.
Is that
Good. Okay. This piece here. See?
Hey, Chef.
Good.
Let's talk about the hands. We doing we got to focus on.
What do you say?
He was asking you about the ham. It was supposed to be boneless. And he's holding.
You got it, but it's nice. You usually got it, but it's nice.
What do you have to say?
That's
the beauty, you know?
Got it, but it's nice.
And it's a good lesson, you know, it's an important lesson because a lot of times, see, think about this. I can buy this to the restaurant for probably $3, maybe even more dollars less if I'm doing this exercise. This exercise, if I'm doing this in a restaurant, can save an employee because I'm busy relaxing a yoga retreat rather than coming down somebody. 1, 2, I can teach one cook that is not doesn't have a heavy load on that day, to do something that he can take over and over and over again. It's a big thing. Think about this. How many people you know that you work in a job, right? And that's, gosh, my prep list today was big. I have a lot of stuff to do. Rather than look at things, gosh, today my prep list was big. I learned a lot of things that I can take. So they can fire you, but they can take that skill away from you. You know what I mean? So you get out of them knowing. And I think that's the key ingredient. So here, if I'm doing this, you see, remember when we talked about some of the parts at the end that basically separate itself? That basically the only thing I'm doing over here is kind of open up a little bit so I can go in here, get this piece, I can cure this thing nice and even, I can take a little piece over here that I can create rendering fat. I definitely need to disappear with this. See this gland over here? This is not edible. See this piece here?
What are these, chef?
This is little gland, little bruise. That is a specific scientific name to it, which I don't even remember. It is good. But, this is just kind of, see, doesn't cook very well, doesn't render very well, have a very kind of strange palate, So here, it's good here. It's good here. You can separate this a little bit. Okay, it's good.
So you were to buy a piece like that's boneless already? Do you think they would remove those things or no?
Often they wouldn't,
It's better to do it yourself for that reason.
I mean, if I'm in culinary school, man, I can promise something. I wouldn't buy anything cut, fillet, portion, not ever, for my whole first 5 years of school, because this is repetition. This is like think about how long it takes for you to be proficient on this, and it's not gonna happen with one pig. It's not gonna happen with one pig, and that's the thing.
Not a lot of companies will trust you with their pig.
No.
In that case, how much does half a pig cost?
Actually, it's not very expensive. You can buy this half a pig like this for 3 of you, probably under 300. Think about this. I'll give you something. I buy 180 pig from the same company for the restaurant, 180 pounds of pig, right? For $135, right? Because when I buy the pig like that, I'm paying only $4.33 per pound. I cut the whole pig, including the face. I end up with less than 5 pounds of garbage. You saw over here, 150-pound pig. You have less than a pound, a little bit of waste. This is not producing anything for me. Everything else producing something for me, including this. I take, and I show you the cost. I take a 180-pound pig, I butcher everything on a speed rack into the restaurant. By the time I sold the last ounce of that pig, including the amuse bouche on the bar with the little riblets and everything, $7,176 in sales. From $435, plus I order retreat for me and my sous chef midweek to chill a little bit. Because butchery day, nobody will bother me, everybody know what to do, so people will watch and will learn something. Almost $7,200 in sales from a under 450 purchase. With a good demo, a good teaching piece, several techniques. So we have our bacon, we made our chorizo to go with our nuts, we have our bacon over there, we made our own pancetta, we have porchetta di testa, we have a little riblets, we have braised pork over polenta, we have sea pork loin, tenderloin, I'll wrap in pancetta and then serve with that and this and that. So use the whole thing out from one end. Every week for 2 years straight. So if you think about, you learn a little bit math in cost-wise, think about that, $7,200 in sales from a $430 purchase. What is the food cost of those dishes overall?
Less
Of
than
course,
10%.
if I'm selling this, the food cost on that dish might be a little bit higher, but I'm not costing this. I'm costing this.